We saw Suge in the back of the House of Blues. Tupac was alive at the time. Tupac was in a white drop-top Rolls Royce. Suge was in a red one. We rose up to Pac. Puff tried to speak to Pac. He like, yo, what up, Pac? Pac looked at him and turned his head. Didn't say nothing to him, got right back on his phone. Riz said, yo, F him, speak to Suge. Suge is the boss. Puff said something, she said, yo, what up, Suge? He said, what's up? He said, yo, you think we got any problems out here? Suge said, I don't know no problems that y'all have. You think we good out here? He said, you should be. Suge just, I don't know any problems you got, bruh. And Pac was alive then.
Do you believe that one of the greatest mysteries in the music industry, the death of Tupac Shakur, might finally be unraveling nearly 3 decades later? Yes, you heard that right. While Diddy, the hip-hop mogul, is facing a series of legal accusations, rapper 50 Cent has dropped a bombshell claim that Diddy was the one behind Tupac's assassination back in 1996. What's unfolding isn't just another legal dispute. It feels more like an excavation of the dark, buried history of the American music industry. And this story isn't just about Diddy, Tupac, or 50 Cent. It touches on the hidden power structures in entertainment, where words can kill and influence can silence an entire generation. In this video, you'll be taken through never-before-heard details, chilling testimonies from insiders, and secret connections that fans have only dared to speculate about for years. This isn't just news, it's a journey into one of hip-hop's darkest conspiracies. 50 Cent has always been known as a rapper who doesn't shy away from conflict, but this time, he didn't just throw out a cryptic post or jab at someone on social media. In a deliberate move, he reignited a secret many assumed had long been buried, the death of Tupac Shakur. It all started when 50 Cent's name surprisingly came up during Diddy's recent trial, brought up by none other than Capricorn Clark, a former personal assistant and later the head of marketing for Diddy's fashion label Sean John. No one expected 50 Cent's name drop in the testimony to trigger a storm of revelations and raise questions that rocked the public. Capricorn Clark revealed that Diddy showed extreme negativity and anxiety when he found out she had past connections with Suge Knight, his sworn rival. That anxiety wasn't just an attitude. Clark said Diddy would threaten her, surveil her, and even take her to remote locations to interrogate her. This lines up with earlier rumors that Diddy had a habit of handling sensitive internal issues with intimidation and psychological pressure, rather than through legal channels. The timing of 50 Cent's reappearance in this narrative has led many to believe that he's seizing the moment to reopen the case, but with more focus and purpose than ever, to expose Diddy to the public. Everyone remembers the long-standing rivalry between 50 Cent and Diddy that's been simmering for decades. But this time, the truth seems to go far beyond the usual rap beef. If the accusations are real, this could be one of the biggest exposes in the entertainment world, where a man once revered as a king of hip-hop is taken down by a fellow industry heavyweight. To fully understand the gravity of 50 Cent's accusations, we have to rewind to the early 1990s, when Tupac Shakur and Sean Diddy Combs were each building their own music empires. At the time, Tupac wasn't just a standout rapper, he was a cultural icon for a generation, loved for his boldness, directness, and his activism on social, racial, and justice issues. Meanwhile, Diddy was an ambitious young producer turning Bad Boy Records into the East Coast's dominant hip-hop label. The relationship between Tupac and Diddy didn't start in hostility, but it quickly escalated into fierce rivalry after Tupac suspected Diddy and Biggie Smalls of betraying him during a 1994 shooting incident. Diddy denied any involvement, but Tupac believed it was a setup, and from that moment, the real war began. The tension reached a peak when Tupac dropped Hit 'Em Up, widely regarded as the most aggressive diss track in hip-hop history, where he claimed to have slept with Biggie's wife and vowed to destroy Bad Boy Records. That song wasn't just music, it was a declaration of war, pouring gasoline on an already raging fire between two of the most powerful forces in hip-hop at the time, Death Row and Bad Boy. The beef didn't just play out in the booth. They clashed in public appearances, interviews, glares, and veiled threats. The American media at the time described the Tupac-Diddy dynamic as a cold war between two kings vying for the throne. But what no one expected was that this war would end in bloodshed, and Tupac's death at just 25 stunned the world. When Tupac was gunned down with 4 bullets in Las Vegas, the only person with him was Suge Knight. From there, the questions started pouring in. Who ordered Tupac's assassination? Why has the case gone unsolved for decades? And is Diddy somehow involved in that plot, as 50 Cent is now suggesting? Capricorn Clark, once an obscure name in the entertainment world, has now become a central figure in a chain of events that's rattling all of Hollywood. She wasn't just Diddy's former personal assistant, but also his marketing director at Sean John, working closely with him for over a decade. In her recent court testimony, she took the stand and dropped what the media has described as a ticking time bomb, exposing how Diddy manipulated and punished those closest to him. One of Clark's most harrowing claims was that she was forced to take a lie detector test in an abandoned building in New York.
No lawyers. No witnesses.
No one knew what was happening inside. The person who took her there was Paul Alfred, better known as Uncle Paulie, Diddy's trusted bodyguard. Clark recalled that every day, Paulie would pick her up, drive her to the location, lock the doors, and begin the high-pressure game. She had to pass the polygraph, and if she failed, she was repeatedly warned, "You'll end up in the East River." But that wasn't all. Clark also described a separate incident. In 2011, Diddy, in a fit of rage, showed up at her house with a gun, forced her into a car, and drove straight to rapper Kid Cudi's house. The reason? Diddy was furious that Kid Cudi was dating his ex-girlfriend Cassie. Clark recalled in detail how Diddy banged on the door and barged into Cudi's home. In the middle of the chaos, she was the one who called Cassie Ventura to warn her that Diddy was hunting her new man. And that wasn't the end of it. Clark also confirmed that after the incident, she was fired, despite being promised overtime pay totaling more than $80,000. During a staff meeting, when a representative from Human Resources read the exact amount allowed in front of her and Diddy, he didn't say a word, he just coldly tore the report in half in front of everyone. These statements weren't just personal grievances, they aligned perfectly with many of the other accusations now piling up against Diddy, from Cassie Ventura, from Kid Cudi, and from other insiders who once worked closely with him. With more and more witnesses echoing similar stories, the public has started asking the big question: is this still just celebrity drama, or is it the tip of a massive, organized pattern of criminal behavior that's been going on for decades?
And she said actually on the first day of the job, she was taken to Central Park. And you might think, oh, we're going to go to Central Park, it's going to be great. But that's not really how she described her first day on the job. She said she went there with Sean Combs, Diddy, and she also went there with Paul Alford. Now, who is Paul Alford? He's actually the security guard that we've known about for a number of testimony, right? But she's actually talking about Uncle Paulie. And so she said that she was brought to Central Park with them. And then she kind of gets into why they would go to Central Park. And it was essentially to threaten Capricorn Clark. Why? Because she actually used to work with Death Row. And who was the CEO of Death Row? That is Suge Knight, one of Diddy's many arch nemesis. And so she said that she described her previous relationship with Suge Knight as he is actually the father of her best friend's children. So she does not have a personal, intimate relationship with Suge Knight necessarily, but she just knows of him and knows him a little bit closer, mainly because of her best friend, and that he is the father of her best friend's children. And so when she was taken to Central Park around this time, this being in 2004, she said that Diddy told her he'd her if she had anything to do with Suge Knight. Then there was an objection raised in court. The defense obviously objecting to that statement, but the government continued to ask her about this alleged threat, and she being Capricorn Clark had explained that Diddy was relatively calm while delaying this kind of message to her. She said that during this kind of meetup at Central Park, or during this meeting, that Uncle Paulie said nothing. He was calm as well too. He was a little stoic from her description of it. And she said, as far as the response to the threat goes, she says, well, we'll just have to see.
Right after Capricorn Clark's explosive testimony went public, another long-forgotten detail suddenly re-emerged: a direct connection between Sean Diddy Combs and the longtime suspect in Tupac's murder, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Court documents revealed that according to Keefe D's latest statements, he was once a member of the Southside Crips. He was paid $1 million to take care of Tupac. And the person who allegedly gave that order? None other than Diddy himself. This information wasn't entirely new to those who have followed the case closely. In an interview from a few years ago, Keefe D vaguely admitted to being present at the scene of the September 7, 1996 shooting in Las Vegas, the night Tupac was hit with 4 bullets and died 6 days later. But he had never directly named who hired him, until recently, when the FBI officially reopened the investigation, working in coordination with the Las Vegas Police Department, and suddenly, his testimony changed everything. According to an inside source from the FBI, as reported by various U.S. media outlets, investigators are now examining a series of suspicious financial transactions dating back to the late 1990s involving Diddy. One piece of potential evidence could prove damning: a money transfer made through an intermediary to an account allegedly belonging to a known gang member, matching the details of Keefe D's statement. Things escalated even further when people close to Tupac, like his rap group Outlaws, came forward to assert that Tupac had always believed someone from the bad boy camp had betrayed him. In an old interview, Tupac once said, "If I die, don't ask who did it. Ask who benefited." That haunting quote led the public to ask the most pressing question of all. How could a case as monumental as Tupac's death go unsolved for nearly 30 years without anyone being held accountable? Was it because the investigation involved people with too much power in the industry? And if Diddy really was involved, how many people had to stay silent to protect a blood-stained secret? The story of 50 Cent, Diddy, and Tupac's death isn't just about digging up an old scandal. It has become a modern media phenomenon. Social media, especially TikTok and YouTube, is now flooded with breakdowns, timelines, and Hollywood-level conspiracy theories. So what is it about this drama that has spread like wildfire? There are three key reasons. First, it strikes at the core of public curiosity surrounding the dark secrets of the entertainment world, where rumors are constant but proof is rare. Seeing a figure as high-profile as Diddy, a man who once stood beside President Obama, who was a cultural and fashion icon, now caught in a swirl of serious criminal allegations, makes people feel that something has been hidden for way too long. As the evidence from various sources starts to align like puzzle pieces, the audience can't look away. Second, there's a growing undercurrent among fans, especially younger generations, to unmask the untouchables. Just like the wave that canceled controversial figures in Hollywood such as Harvey Weinstein or Kevin Spacey, the rap world is now facing its own reckoning, driven by the public. Allegations are no longer whispered backstage. They're broadcast, debated, and dissected by millions on social media every day. And third, perhaps the most emotional reason, is the unresolved grief surrounding a legend. Tupac wasn't just an artist. He was a symbol, a rebel voice, a powerful presence. His death has long felt like a collective wound with no closure. Now that there's hope for answers, the public isn't going to let it slide. Diddy being accused might be the final piece that completes a story that's been buried for 30 years. Unsurprisingly, within days, the keyword Diddy and Tupac shot to the top of trending lists on both Twitter and YouTube. Major podcasts like DJ Academics, Vlad TV, and Joe Budden dedicated full episodes to the subject, creating a viral wave that felt like a Netflix series unfolding in real time. And if there's anyone in entertainment who knows how to turn drama into a PR weapon, it's 50 Cent. For years, he's been known not just as a successful rapper, but as a master of manipulating public narratives and wielding social media like a surgical tool. With this current drama, 50 hasn't taken the witness stand, but his name was called in Capricorn Clark's testimony, and in 50's world, nothing is ever a coincidence. Right after the courtroom developments, 50 Cent began teasing the story on his personal Instagram. He didn't spell it out directly, but he repeatedly emphasized the phrase "you reap what you sow." He reposted an image of Tupac with the caption "Rest in Power," subtly suggesting that justice was finally on the way. One of his most viral posts was a photo of Diddy edited with a clown face, captioned simply, "This ain't over."
Speaking of, in particular, Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It.
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. Like, I didn't make the allegations, I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else, but I did feel uncomfortable with the way you would present the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it, just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like, when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them, and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like, when people don't remember being violated for 20 years, it makes me feel a little hard.
What are your thoughts on the allegations against Jay-Z? That
was interesting. When I was saying things, not knowing exactly what I was saying, but I was going with, like, where's Jay at? He's mad quiet. Like while the Puffy thing was going on. But it's obvious now that his team was being made aware that he was in those allegations also.
This isn't the first time 50 Cent has stirred up a storm like this. In the past, he's had very public beefs with Ja Rule, Rick Ross, and even Floyd Mayweather. But what stands out is that every time 50 creates chaos, he conveniently has a new product to launch, a new TV series, a re-released album, or a coincidentally timed liquor brand partnership. With this Diddy-Tupac drama, he's simultaneously pushing his Power Universe series, a collection of crime-themed shows featuring villains that bear an eerie resemblance to Diddy. Fans have dubbed 50's strategy controlled expose, meaning he always reveals just enough to make noise, but never so much that it crosses legal boundaries. He lets the public do the theorizing, create their own narratives, and when their assumptions line up with real-world developments, their trust in 50 only grows. The result? He plays the hero, controls the conversation, and reaps massive media gains. Put simply, 50 Cent is turning the entire Diddy-Tupac drama into his personal stage, a narrative playground he controls, where he positions himself as the guy who knows everything but waits for the right moment to reveal it. It's not a new tactic, but he's playing it so smartly that it's practically untouchable. When the public looks at celebrities, they see spotlights, Grammy trophies, and millions of screaming fans. But behind the glitter is a ruthless system, one where artists are treated like tools, and relationships are built on leverage, not loyalty. In that world, even legends like Tupac or Biggie, no matter how talented, can easily become casualties when they no longer fit the strategy of the moguls pulling the strings. Tupac was known for being fiercely independent, refusing to bow to the industry. He publicly called out the American entertainment system for devouring black artists and twisting art into commercial products. That made him a threat in the eyes of powerful players. At the same time, Diddy was busy building a new kind of music empire, one rooted in financial dominance, branding, and absolute control over his artists' images. Two men with opposing visions clashing in the same arena was a tragedy waiting to happen. The truth is, many artists who've pushed back against the system have been silenced. Some disappear from the spotlight, others get buried in lawsuits, and some coincidentally fall into scandals that wipe out their careers. That's why the Tupac case, if it truly involves backroom dealings, might not be a one-off. It could just be the tip of an iceberg the music industry has worked hard to keep hidden. And what's worse is that stories like this are still happening. The difference now is that few have dared to speak out, or have had the courage to come forward like Capricorn Clark or 50 Cent. After everything that's happened and everything still unfolding, people are starting to wonder, could this really be the end of Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most powerful figures in American music for over 2 decades? The testimonies, the new evidence, and the rising outrage from the public are forming a pressure cooker around him. But if you look closer, Diddy's fate may not rest solely in the hands of the court. It may lie in how he responds and how the public receives this story in an age ruled by cancel culture. Unlike the 90s, today's social media landscape is a second courtroom, and if you lose the trust of the public, even being legally acquitted might not be enough to save your career. Diddy is now losing the support of even his most loyal allies. Many brands have quietly pulled out of endorsement deals. Young artists who once idolized him are keeping their distance. And while he hasn't been criminally charged in Tupac's death, at least not yet, what the public sees is already enough to convict him in their minds. But there's another possible outcome. Diddy, with his decades of experience and deep-rooted influence, might try to reinvent himself, perhaps using a PR blitz to shift the narrative. Hollywood has seen many comeback stories after scandals, from Robert Downey Jr. to Chris Brown. Diddy has the means. All he needs is time, and a perfectly timed move. However, this time is different. The scale and density of the allegations are unprecedented. This isn't a civil suit, or a personal scandal. It's a string of events involving threats, abduction, and possibly even murder. If law enforcement, especially the FBI and federal prosecutors, keeps expanding the investigation, there's a strong chance Diddy could face consequences far more serious than anything he's dealt with before. And even if Diddy somehow survives this legally, one thing is nearly certain: the glow around him is gone. And once an icon's image collapses in the eyes of the public, especially the younger audience who drive views, streams, and sponsorships, it's incredibly hard to get that momentum back. So this might not be the legal end for Diddy, but it could very well be the media end, one even he can't spin his way out of. And at this point, everything is starting to come together. What once seemed like scattered pieces, Capricorn Clark's testimony, Keefe D's allegations, 50 Cent's media strategy, are now fitting into a much bigger, darker picture. If all of this turns out to be true, then we're not just talking about an isolated scandal. We're looking at a long-running, coordinated operation, carried out by people at the top of the entertainment industry's power and fame pyramid. A conspiracy that may have spanned decades, ultimately costing one of the greatest rap artists in history his life. But the question still remains: Was Diddy really involved in Tupac's death? Will the American legal system actually dare to take down a man with this much power? And will the deep-rooted secrets of the entertainment world finally be brought to light? Or will they once again be buried under the weight of money and influence? The answer, perhaps, won't be found in the courtroom. It lies with you. It lies with the people who dare to ask the tough questions and demand transparency. So if you believe this story deserves to be heard by more people, share this video. Hit like if you want to keep following the next developments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any updates, because this is only the first chapter in what could become a game-changing saga in hip-hop history. And finally, drop a comment below. Do you think Diddy is guilty? Or is all of this just an elaborate media play? Every opinion helps us understand what the audience really thinks, and I'll be responding right in the comment section. See you in the next video, where we'll continue uncovering the untold truths hidden behind the glamorous curtain of the music elite.